And we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We are day 89 of 365 days of guitar practice. If you're brand new, I'm Jay Wills, Midlife Dude, doing a daily vlog of me getting back into music and learning how to play guitar after 22 years. And for all of you OG subscribers, it's Sound EFX Saturday. And we're gonna go through the Bass Katana tonight. And I've been the last hour and a half, for all of you who've been following along, my journey. And if you're brand new, I do a daily vlog every day of my little journey, my little passion project of YouTube's and doing all that, so welcome. So my RC600, I've been in the rabbit hole. Got the bass out. Well, I think I erased everything, but I've got some effects on this thing. I'm gonna play through it. However, I've been banging on the bass guitar and I give myself 2 little blisters on the tips of my fingers in the last hour and a half. So, who knew? That's crazy. However, I think I have a pretty good sense of this RC600 at this point. And check out, so this thing has a whole array of things. For those of you who have this, yeah, it's pretty cool. You can do a gazillion different kinds of drum kits on this and sound effects and all kinds of cool shit. And so I'll play around with that with the bass guitar in a bit because it sounds cool. It's very like, I don't know, synthy 80s kind of type of stuff, but it's cool. All right, so let's grab a little Tele, and if this thing's still set up from this morning, she was sounded mighty, mighty crunchy. Just gonna make up something for the intro for today and go from there. Welcome back to the channel. A little more volume for that, for sure. Experimenting with some like crazy picking. Here's some interesting sounds. I may have to tune this. I thought it was a tune. It's Sound EFX Saturday, so that's fun. practice. I thought this was in tune. I totally thought this was in tune. It's a little sharp. It's fine. It's fine. Nothing wrong with that. With the old RC600 and see if I can make anything sound somewhat okay. Although my finger's crazy sore now. Damn. But yeah, check this out. This is awesome. This is cool. This is just fun. be better. That is what that cool thing can do, and most of you know what that can do, but this is my first night ever, or afternoon, figuring this out. So it's funny shit. And really exciting, although there's a lot going on here, and there's a ton of menu diving. And it's probably gonna be a long video, and if any of you wonderful souls are gonna tag along for this entire ride, let's play with some more effects. I do want to figure out what's going on. There's only gonna be a handful of you following through the deep waters of this video. And I'm curious, I don't think you can blow a 2x12 cab out after like 3 months, because I've only had this cab, this lower 2x12 for like 3 months. However, something changed from this morning, or well, I should say this afternoon with this guitar. Maybe I'll try a different guitar. Maybe it's just a different setting. I'm not sure, but something doesn't sound the same. There's probably a button I pushed and it's different. Probably because I was running through this Vox pedal. So I got this pedal down here. This is an old pedal from way back in the day. It's super heavy. Unfortunately, it crackles and kind of pops. I put a new battery in it, tore it apart, cleaned it out. But it's a wah pedal, and I might end up just investing into a new wah pedal, because even though this thing doesn't look very used, it cracks and makes weird sounds, and the guitar signal fades in and out. It crackles. Yeah, it's kind of clown shoes. So if you have any good recommendations for any of you deep watered video folks on wah pedals, let me know. Otherwise, I think the old Dunlop or whichever one Hendrix used would probably be the one I'm going to get, in addition to one other effects pedal, because I want a reverb pedal for the Dark Terror. That does not have any reverb on it, and I do not have a reverb pedal. However, let's figure out more of what this thing can do. I'm just going to let this play while I menu dive on this. And it has some cool stuff. So, the menu to the loop. So now, there's no effect on it. That's just the kit. The next effect you can put on just the kit is this. And you can combine them. Make all kinds of cool shit with this. It's pretty cool. Ram them together, it's kind of crazy. Let's change the kit. So this is a live kit, a light kit. Now this is all with the heavy metal genre. This is a metal kit, or like metal genre. Traditional. World Bossa 1, Ballroom Cha-Cha. Again, let's go live kit for all of them. Electro 1, Electro 1. I'm changing the kits to there's a whole array of kits. Brand new, I have not played with this yet. Electro with a R&B kit variation, just having fun. Maybe we'll throw some bass on top of that. The fact that that little loop station does that, I'm tickled pink. That's awesome. The camera's probably going to pick up all the bass that I can hear, which is where that's going to come in, hopefully tomorrow. I got a microphone, but that microphone's not working with my system right now. But I do have a mic. It just, yeah, it's not working. That's what I'll do. Oh, hold on. Gotta clear that out, that's right. Gotta clear them out. Alright, try that again. I have more menu diving to do. And let's see where the camera's at. Let's see how lonely I want to be. We're at 30 minutes. All right, that's fine. We'll go a few more minutes. All right. We're going to go just that. I'm going to change the kit. Dance kit. Studio kit. Let's go studio kit. And then we'll go. and a few wonderful souls are still hanging out. That is day 89 in the bag. Tomorrow is day 90, 3 months in. Working on something for day 90. It's going to be regular practice tomorrow. However, there's going to be an additional video about that day. So, for all of you that are still hanging out, thank you so much. I appreciate you greatly. And I do believe. Peace. See you tomorrow.